Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey.
And I'm Holly.
And this is our very road weary, but still very comfortable Chrysler Pacifica that has gotten us to California and all the way back here to the midpoint of Route 66. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the styling, but really we're going to share our opinions about what this has been like for nearly 3,000 miles on the road. All right, Holly, first things first, van life. Are you about it?
I am about the van life.
Okay.
I really like how much stuff we can put in here.
Absolutely.
I like it. This vehicle was so comfortable on this long road trip. My back has not hurt once, not because of the car anyway.
Right.
The rides at Disneyland, different story. But this vehicle we were able to put all of our stuff for our 4-year-old and our family, 3 adults traveling in it.
Right.
Has been so amazing. I mean, I know people have like a stigma against soccer mom, minivans, whatever, but the functionality of a minivan cannot be beat.
So yes, I am one of those that was weary of that stigma because we had a 92 Plymouth Grand Voyager, which is a predecessor to this growing up. So van life was something that, you know, parents have and all that stuff. Well, we're parents now, and I get the appeal because we were able to put, like you said, so much stuff in the back. You and I mentioned on the podcast leading up to this road trip, 10 more cubic feet in this than a Chevy Tahoe.
And better gas mileage.
And better gas mileage. Yeah, so while we're talking about that, it's got the Pentastar V6 under the hood, very familiar engine. Feels plenty powerful to both of us, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got up and going. One of your first times behind the wheel, you really you gave it a little
I gave it a little test.
Yes. But for 2021, it did get updated styling, new headlights, new front clip up here. What are your thoughts on the general styling of this van?
I really like it. I like the grille, how it looks. Of course, I'm just talking about the prettiness of it. It's got some interesting curves on the top, so it's not plain and boring. It doesn't look like one of those big honking minivans of the 80s, our childhood. Yes. So it's nice, it's sleek, it's classy with its chrome accents. I really like it a lot.
Very upscale market minivan for sure, because the top of the line Pinnacle, which this one is not, this is the Touring L trim, so it's got leather seats, but the top of the line Pinnacle, I've tested on this channel, we'll link it up. Super nice. This one is so practical for us, our life stage, where we're at. We'll talk about the storage here in a little bit. I'll put Tucker's car seat in it. Yeah, all around, very practical vehicle. But why don't we move around to the side and talk about what makes a minivan a minivan. All right, Holly, your side profile is very clearly a minivan, but that's not a bad thing, right?
No, that's not a bad thing. I like the way this one is styled. Yep. Like I said, it's not like the chunky things of the past. It's got a sleek, very sleek
cutting through the
styling. The chrome accents are really nice on the door handle on this, and then it's got a little curve down the side to give it some interesting character to it. So I like it.
I really like the door-mounted rear view mirrors here on the side because it opens up this area right here for just a little bit of extra visibility out and the road around you. So that's been a really nice touch for me. But we can't talk minivans without talking about what makes a minivan, and that is the power sliding rear doors. And as you can see, we've got passengers on board. Both our son and your mother have really enjoyed these doors, and there are so many different ways to activate them. You can pull on the handle, you can push that button. There's a button here inside. There's a button up above the driver's center console. And then there's even the key fob where you can open it from the key fob. So many different ways to access the sliding doors here as well. In conjunction with that, which has worked out very well on this trip, especially when we were at the Grand Canyon, the big windows, very large windows, they do roll down and allow for great views of the scenery around you, which has also been really good on this Route 66 road trip. And then manual sunshades to block out the sun when the view isn't so great out there.
I will say I've become a big fan of the sliding doors on this trip, and being a mom, I mean, I've always liked the sliding doors, but there's another level of appreciation for them, because if you're trying to get a kid out of a car seat and someone parks too close to you, or sometimes it's not even too close, they're within the parking spot, but the spots are so close together and you have to open your door so wide to get the kid in and out and get their juice boxes and toys. Not a problem with the sliding door. You just open it up, pull them out, no issues at all.
And I think these doors are Tucker's favorite part of this whole vehicle. He's closed me in it like 5 times, pushing the button right after climbing in. So, Tucker really likes it. We like it. It works out well. Practicality wins out overall. Let's go to the back and talk about the rear end styling. All right, Holly, we talked about it a little up front with the updated front end styling, but new for 21 back here at the back, we also get updated rear tail lights and a cleaned up look back here with this really awesome LED light bar that runs all the way across. LED turn signals as well. It's all LED back here.
A cleaned up styling, but not a cleaned up.
Yeah, so you can definitely tell we have put many road miles on this with the Arizona, New Mexico, and California dust. This is a well-worn vehicle in the sense that we have put 3,000 miles on it since we've gotten it. So we've really gotten to know it inside and out. And to that end, what are your thoughts on the styling back here?
I really like the styling back here. It's big, and that's because of all the space it has, which is a little surprising, I guess, because if looking at it from the front, it's got the sleek aerodynamic going to the back. So you kind of expect it to keep that aerodynamic kind of taper off. But it looks more like a Jeep type,
maybe an SUV
type car at the back. And I'll tell you a funny story that you don't know.
Okay.
We were parked in a parking lot, and I ran back to the van to grab something out of it, and I could only see the back sides of the cars in, because I wasn't expecting it to be so boxy looking back here. I was like, oh no, somebody stole the van. I know it was parked right here. Where's the van? And then I was like, oh no, wait, it's this. Yeah. It's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
So we also have to talk about, forgive our mess inside. Again, 3,000 miles on the road. Power lift gate. And because it's a minivan, one of the benefits is the low load floor in here. So we talked earlier, over 10 cubic feet more storage in this than you and I both tested a 21 Chevy Tahoe, which is big. That was the whole theme of that review. It was big and has less interior space than this, and you had to lift stuff up and over to get into it. This has a nice low load floor. And then with the rear seats stored in the floor like we do here, I mean, we've got 2 weeks worth of stuff and then some back here.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's very
we take way too much stuff with us.
We do. Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But you can see so much room in here. And then we did make a stop halfway through where we pulled all the luggage out and had to carry around extra people. So the seats flopped right back into place. You rode back there. Was it really comfortable?
It was super comfortable, and even more than that, it was easy to get in and out of, which I can really appreciate. Because a lot of the times you have to pull really hard on this or tug, and it wasn't that. It was just a little latch on the shoulder. It falls all the way forward, so I didn't have any problems getting in and out.
Works even with the car seat in place.
And I will say I really like the lowness of the van versus the Tahoe, because being a shorty, and when we reviewed the Tahoe, that's what I thought. It would be really intimidating to put our suitcases in a Tahoe that tall. And like you made the point, well, I would be
Right.
doing that, but maybe not always. And I've helped here, and Tucker's even helped.
Load the van up. So plenty of space back here. And because it is a Chrysler product, we do have a side mounted button here. So Shorty approved.
Shorty approved. Now I like those side mounted buttons.
So that's enough about the van from the outside. Why don't we hop in and give our driving impressions?
First, we got to get some of that ugly crust pie at the Midpoint Cafe.
Oh yeah.
I've heard it's delicious. We got to do that first. Pie, then drive.
All right. All right, gearheads. The first thing I want to show off, behind the rear sliding doors, of which they are on both sides and accessed from the key fob here, which you can see. It's a rather chunky but substantial key fob that feels quite solid. You've got both of your power door switches, remote start, rear hatch, lock and unlock, and a panic button. It's a pretty substantial and good key fob. But behind the driver's seat here on the door, to fully access Stow and Go, there's a button to pull that front seat up and out of the way. Now, to access Stow and Go and to fully store these seats in the floor, you do have to remove the floor mats on either side. On this side, there is no nifty button to move the passenger seat up. You just need to make sure it is up and out of the way. Again, you remove the flooring here. Little lever here to lift the floor panel up and out of the way. It's actually going to need to be up like that, but we'll get to that in just a second. There's a strap here on the side that says Stow and Go. You pull that, and practically in one full motion, it takes care of itself. And now you've got a massive load floor here in the middle. Let's not forget about the rear ones. All right, so from the rear cargo area, there are two straps back here labeled 1 and 2 for folding the seats into the floor. And it really does not get any simpler than that. Massive load floor all the way up to the front. All right, now, one thing I will note, you do have your vents for underneath the third row here, but it is not a completely flat load floor all the way back to the back. But that's okay. You still get a nice amount of cargo capacity back here, better than any current SUV. And then while we're talking about nifty touches, the rear seat belts actually have places to slide in so they aren't rattling back here on the back. And the middle seat belt is up here and connects down below. But very large and cavernous rear storage space. For our trip, we are only taking 4 people, so we are actually going to be making full use of this area for cargo storage. One cool thing we will take full advantage of back here in the back is this 12-volt power outlet, because we have a little mini onboard fridge we will be taking with us. Set right here, plug in right here, and we're good to go. All right, putting all these seats back up is very easy, just in reverse. So as you lift up this little flap here on the floor, hold that in place, you pull your Stow and Go lever, your seat comes back up. I will note the rear child anchor is down here for the child seat because of Stow and Go. You flip the seat back up and into place. You flip the floor back down, and the little cutouts for the seat position are left in place. And now you have a middle row, once again, with armrests. The same is true of the passenger side. You lift that up and lift it up and out of the way. It stays in place. Pull the Stow and Go lever. Seat comes up, back into place. Floor comes down and back into place. Your rear carpeted floor mat clips back in where it belongs. And there you go. You also have access to the underfloor storage here with that rear mat still in place, but very nice there. And then putting up the rear seats. Get a nice little tab here. You flip, fold it forward, and you can pull it back. Now, with this rear seat up, you get grocery bag hooks back here on the back. You only get 2 rear anchor points. So if you're trying to put 3 car seats across back here, not going to happen so easily. But you get 2 rear anchor points back there and a deep well that I'm just going to show you right now with myself how deep this well is for additional cargo back here. So even though there are only 4 of us and we don't need these rear seats, we could very easily leave them up and still put all of our cargo back here in the back. Minivans are just massive when it comes to interior storage. And because this is a Chrysler product, the button to close is here on the side. Get a nice warning beep to say, get out of the way. And down comes the lift. Rear seat comfort. So these seats are a little bit smaller than the front seats. They're definitely thinner because they fold into the floor, but you get armrests on each side. You do get a manual recline that goes back fairly well back here. And I am sitting behind myself at 5'10". I still have a little bit of knee room. You get a mesh map pocket back here, USB-A and USB-C in the seat back of both front seats, which is really nice. Your power door close button right here. You can also pull the handheld right here. Cup holder in the door. Manual sunshades back here. Roll down rear window. Cup holders in the back of the center console here. It's a pretty nice place for a road trip. All right, rear seat comfort. I've got the passenger side stored into the floor just to show you, sitting behind myself in that 3rd row, behind where I had the 2nd row placed. You can see headrests fold down so these seats can fold into the floor. My knees are not under my chin, plenty of room. These seats have a nice cutout, kind of cantilever design so that there is absolutely 0 foot obstruction underneath the seat. So it could be further back, but my feet have plenty of room to move around. Comfortable back here. I've got a cup holder, a little handheld spot, not enough to actually put anything, but a cup holder and manual sunshades back here in the back. Air conditioning vent up above me. Do like the roof mounted AC vents. The middle seat is narrow. It would be a short trip type of place, but nothing too problematic back here. One more feature that I want to show you is what it's like getting a car seat in to the 2nd row, and then some of the benefits that Chrysler have thought about for this people mover. All right, back around to the passenger side. I know I was talking about taking these floor mats out earlier, but you don't actually have to. The way they are placed, and there's a little cutout in place so you can still open them up even though the floor mat is in place. So disregard those comments earlier, but very easy to put these up and down. Now, we are taking a road trip with my son who still needs a car seat. We do have a car seat mat for, extra seat protection. So some people swear by these. Some people would never be caught dead with one. So that is entirely up to you whether or not you use them. We like to protect our personal seats, and since these are leather, we're going to put one in place anyway. And then my son's car seat. So get this in place. Gonna feed the rear tether through before getting too far along. I've done this enough that I've learned what order everything needs to be done in the hard way. All right, so we got that in place. There are lower anchors for putting these child seat tethers in, but I did notice they're a little hard to find. There's a lot of seat leather material wrapped around them. So I would say, even though I've got my eyes on it right now, it is very hard to get this latch in place. like I said, I am literally touching the latch and looking directly at it. And there we go. It's all because there's just so much leather around that seat latch. Same is true on the outboard side here. You just gotta hold your mouth just right and hope that you can get this latch in place without all that seat material obstructing the mechanism from doing its job. So there we go, pull that in place. Now, feature I love for both installation and for getting into that third row is the child seat friendly fold feature. I mentioned earlier the anchor latch is way down here. That's part of the stow and go system, but that makes for an easy installation. Need to make sure everything is snug and tight, but yeah, there we go. A little more pulling and tugging on the latches, but makes for a nice car seat installation, and then it stays put and I can still get in to the third row. Very nice. I like it. Being that this is the ultimate family vehicle, I think it is necessary. Both seats actually have this feature, and a absolute must in any three-row family vehicle. Sitting up front, you get a nice Chrysler animation, but I'm actually going to fire her up and let it go. So you get a nice Apple CarPlay infotainment system up here that is very well integrated. It feels like it's the right size. It's not too big, it's not too small. The Uconnect system in here works very well. You get a home row of buttons down here: home, media, comfort, CarPlay, vehicle, and all your apps. You can see, if you're familiar with CarPlay, very easy to operate. Hit the Uconnect button, that takes you back to whatever you were doing previously. So your media controls, home controls, whatever you need to do is all built in here. This does have tri-zone air conditioning, so you get driver and passenger up here. You can sync those together, and then you can control the rear from up here as well. You can lock it, sync it to the driver, do automatic, whatever you need to do to make sure those passengers are comfortable as well. CarPlay is where I'm going to leave it most of the time. Get this swipe down menu here with a little bit of more shortcuts for usage here. You can see your compass, any notifications you may have, the outside temperature, and your driver profiles. We've got two set up for the two-person memory seats, which works out quite well. You can edit the name of them, you can change your avatar, you can change your seating position, and right here it tells you everything that is linked to your profile. So home screen customization, menu bar order, status bar, what Bluetooth devices you have favorited, any apps you have loaded and where they are, your media presets, and any notifications that you may have, all right there from the profile. So this one's set up for me. You get readouts up here and a very quick access to your temperature controls and your heated seats, heated steering wheel, whether or not you want to sync it. You also get manual controls down here if you want to go about it that way. All your parking controls are here. You can actually even turn the screen off from right there. Your hazards, your mute button, your browse. I will say you've got three knobs here: volume, air conditioning, tuning, and then you've got the big knob for your dial. I, to this day, have yet to get used to this and this. I do believe it will come over the course of this road trip, but starting off just driving this around town, I keep grabbing for this, trying to change the volume instead of this. And yes, I know there are buttons on the backside of the steering wheel. Speaking of which, very nice rimmed steering wheel, very thick and leather wrapped in my hands, nice 10-2 grip. All your controls for your driver adaptive cruise control, your information screen up front, and then, yes, on the back, your radio controls. Moving further down here, two USB-A's, two USB-C's, an auxiliary input, Nice place to tuck your phone away, which, again, this has wireless CarPlay, but also can do it wired. Put your phone in there, put your phone in there. Multiple places to hide phones. You get a pull-out drawer here that is just a large cave. A few spots here for coins. Very open area down here. Another little cubby here. 2 cup holders. Retractable cubby here with my son's sunglasses. And nice storage right there. Adjustable armrest. And then cup holders for the rear and more storage underneath here. So this actually locks in 2 different places as you scoot it back. So again, power ports, 2 USB-A, 2 USB-C here. There are 2 more, 1 of each down here. So there's a USB-A and USB-C down here, as well as a 12-volt cigarette style plug down there. Nice large bin for that. So I talked about how on the rear of the front seats you get a USB-A and USB-C for each side. Nothing, sadly, in the 3rd row. So we're currently logged into your driver profile. You are the doggy there. You can see our dual zone climate and quick, easy access to the heated seats. That's not my complaint. My complaint is, for some reason, I don't understand it. When we're logged into mine, this clock right here doesn't exist. Everything else is the same phone, same everything, but when we are logged into my profile, the vehicle's clock is not displayed, and this is just all black up here. I don't know what it is, why that doesn't work, a bug in the system. I have updated to the most recent software. I don't know, I cannot figure that out. This system has been a little buggy for us as well. We've had to go in here to vehicle settings and down here to reset and restart the radio just a couple of times because it's lost the wireless connection. Or
I want to keep this car forever.
You like this one?
You want to keep this one forever?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you like this one so much?
Because it's so cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what makes it cool?
I know, but with the blue and green on, but remember, you forgot about the game.
The game?
Yeah.
You got games in here?
There's one right there.
Oh, how fun.
You just picked it out when we were eating with Nana.
Yes, I did.
In the shop.
In the shop, yeah.
And Flo's.
At Flo's, you're right. See, he'll remember this.
Alright, can I hold it?
No,
Why?
because I want you to drop it. Say some other funny things.
Wagga.
What else do you like about the car?
The cool seats.
Are you ready to take it back?
No,
No.
I want to keep it forever.
You want to keep it forever?
Yeah,
How come?
because it's so cool.
All right, gearheads. We finally made it back to Tyler, Texas. The van is coated in Arizona, New Mexico, and California dirt. And now, a fresh layer of East Texas pollen. We have put over 3,000 miles, almost 80 hours on the engine. It's been a very, very competent road trip rig. Are there any other thoughts that you have about the Chrysler Pacifica from our long road trip?
Well, it really was a perfect road trip vehicle for our family. We were able to pack everything and anything we wanted to pack, which is how I like to road trip, because I'd rather just have it than need it later. Plus snacks, road trip snacks, toys for the little one. It was just perfect. The versatility of all of the options, storage, all of that worked really well for our road trip.
Now, after you drove it that last time, you did notice one more thing that you wanted to bring to the attention of the viewing audience? Because it was a feature I used more than you, which was...
That you used that I don't use at all.
Which is...
the adaptive cruise control.
Right.
And this is the perfect reason why I don't use it. I didn't use it on this trip. I don't use it in our Jeep. And that is because, and in the Pacifica, it is very aggressive.
I think it's more aggressive in its braking action in this than it is your Jeep. I use it in both quite frequently on long road trips. And if someone would cut in front of you, it almost immediately slammed on the brakes very hard, very fast. It wasn't gradual or easy. It is not the most svelte system I've ever used, for sure. And then it did an interesting thing in sometimes it forgot what lane a vehicle ahead of me was in, because I could be in an empty lane going around a curve, cruising along just fine, and it think all of a sudden the vehicle in the other lane, which was close, was in my lane, and it would slam on the brakes for no reason. Right. And yeah, it was not a very intelligent system. And I've mentioned before, I made sure to update all the software before we ever hit the road. So we do have the latest software for all of the driver assistance features enabled in this. But yeah, just a touch.
I felt like aggressive. It did that more when there were 3 or 4 lanes versus just the 2 lanes. But yeah, I am the kind of person that I prefer to use my own eyeballs, my own judgment. I understand in the event that there was a collision that it could prevent one. But the number of times that it has startled me to the point that I thought I was going to get in a wreck because of this safety feature, I would rather just use my own eyes and judgment.
Now you had one more thing that we forgot to bring up in the driving portion.
Yeah, the
automatic start-stop.
The automatic start-stop is very noticeable as well. Not necessarily the stop, but the coming back on was very noticeable.
So we did have a lot of mixed driving in this. We did put over 80 hours on the engine, most of them highway hours, but we did drive around Simi Valley and various other locations. And when the engine got warm enough, it would shut off to save for fuel economy. And when it came back on, yes, it was quite noticeable. 3.6 liter V6 under there. It kind of shook you and let you know, hey, I'm back on.
Yeah.
But to that end, in over, what did I say, 3,500 miles, we had 26 mpg across the board, which 1928 was the EPA rating. We saw upwards of 30 on our trip in certain segments for the entire segment up to date. We got our best economy going down the hills into the valleys of California. That's where we saw over 30 mpg, but that included everything from Texas up to that point.
Yeah.
So
well, and it's worth noting in some of those long stretches of highway in Texas and Arizona, we were going 75 miles per hour. We had places to go.
Yes.
No, not more. We went 75 miles per hour. And so that can hurt your MPG a little bit. But I was super impressed with the MPG on this trip. I really was not expecting to get an average of 26 for sure.
So there you have it. Our long road trip review of the Chrysler Pacifica. If you are looking for a road trip mobile, don't knock the minivan. There is a lot of benefit to be had here. And with that, until next time, gearheads, bye. This is our long term. Yes. We're ready to set off.
We're ready to go.
So I only have one.
We've filled with stuff. that we've accumulated over nearly 3,500 miles on this road trip. Lots of sightseeing, lots of fun. Just truly taking advantage of what you and I both believe is the perfect road trip vehicle. I would have